He is fearsome and haunted, a man burdened by terrible remorse and by a terrible talent for killing. He is William Money. He's played by Clint Eastwood in a new movie called Unforgiven.
All right, I'm coming out.
This is the story of how that movie came into being, of the mood in which it was created, a dark tale made in a light spirit.
Here I come, Miss Scarlett.
Most especially, it is the story of how the film was directed by Clint Eastwood.
We'll press both the last two, huh?
All right, fellas. Somebody put a hamburger in my bed. Well, if I hadn't just had lunch, it would have been all right.
The cast and crew of Unforgiven gather for their company photo on the main street of Big Whiskey. It is supposed to be located in Wyoming in 1881. Actually, they're on a remote section of ranch land in Alberta, Canada, and the time is October 1991. Signs proclaim an ironclad local ordinance. The movie makers, obeying another firm rule, come to work via horsepower. To maintain historic atmosphere, no motor vehicles were allowed on the set. The shooting schedule was 52 days, all of them on location. The director relished the isolation. It added to the authenticity he wanted.
But part of the appeal of a Western is you get on location. The air is fabulous, like it is right here. You're not near, we purposely picked a place that is 360 degrees and no civilization around. And you do, if you set out here, if you didn't go back into town in the evenings, you'd eventually think, hey, this is the world for me out here. So for a brief moment, you were in another era, another time.
The town planner was production designer Henry Bumstead, 60 years in the movies, twice an Oscar winner.
The first trip up here, I came with Clint, and we flew up from Los Angeles and got in this helicopter, and we flew all around, and as we were over in this area, we saw these peaks and this hill, not knowing whether we could build it here or not, but Clint liked it.
So many good angles.
And away we went.
The town was built from scratch in 32 days, the fastest Bumstead ever created a major set. William Money takes up his gun. Reformed outlaw, widower, and father, he's mired in hopeless poverty. With children to support, he feels he must return one last time to the wicked ways of his past. The least of Big Whiskey's citizens, the town prostitutes. One of them has been mutilated by clients who have gone unpunished. They offer a reward to anyone who will avenge her. Morgan Freeman plays Ned Logan, Money's old friend and criminal colleague. The Schofield Kid, aspiring gunfighter, is played by James Woolvett. Richard Harris plays English Bob, gunman without a conscience, also drawn to Big Whiskey by the reward. W.W. Beauchamp, Saul Rubinek, a journalist more interested in Western myth than Western reality. The antagonist, Gene Hackman's sly and sadistic sheriff, Little Bill Daggett.
I do not like assassins.
And then this thing here will come right up here, boom, fire, and then drop the gun and...
As a director, Eastwood tries to create the atmosphere that he responds to when he's the actor, workmanlike and low-key.
Hit this thing down to here.
Okay.
He says very little to you, which I appreciate, because much of what's said to you by a lot of directors is all ego, and they say it for the people who are around the camera.
Eastwood was drawn to David Peoples' script by its arresting mixture of moods and motives. His mood on set never swings. It's all calm confidence and far from his tough screen image.
You'll never see a bullhorn on an Eastwood set.
He takes the work seriously, but not himself.
Shoot, cut, print. Send to the lab, shelve it. Yeah, so let's see what you do there, Richard. Jack? Jack? Yeah, oh, that's perfect, just like that.
There was a scene the other day, in fact, that wasn't working for me at all. In the barber shop. Wasn't working for me at all. We tried it this way, that way. It wasn't really working. I couldn't put my finger on it, but he did. He said, it's that line. He's in the wrong place. And it breaks up the rhythm of what you're doing, what you're trying to achieve. So let's try it without that. And we tried it without that, and it went like a symphony.
Miss Bishop, I think a cup of tea.
Sometimes problems aren't so easily solved, but a director's job is to keep himself and everyone else moving.
Hello, Bob.
There are moments you walk on a set when standing there and waiting for you to make some decision, and you haven't got the foggiest idea in your mind. You're kind of sitting there going, let me see, now, how did I think of this a month ago? And then, but you have to, there's a switch you throw and you say, okay, now we'll do something.
Because he's an actor, Eastwood trusts actors to help him out in tight spots.
Sometimes I'll let the actors play a little bit. I say, why don't you guys just walk around and talk about it? And then you just walk around and you'll see it. And they'll instinctively do something interesting.
Let's wander through it. Stand by, please.
And pretty soon it sort of unravels itself, because that's exactly what it is. It's a bunch of the things, and you sort of unravel it all, and there it is, all straight strands, and it's together.
Yeah. There's the key. All you gotta do is shoot me. And you and Bob can just ride on out of here free as birds.
They've been jailed for violating the firearms ordinance, and Sheriff Daggett shows his true, complicated colors.
Is it loaded? Wouldn't do you much good if it wasn't. First, you got to cock it. Now you got to point it. Go on, point it. Now all you got to do is pull the trigger, mister. Hot, ain't it?
Eastwood chooses his crew as carefully as he does his actors. Most of the key people working here have been with him through many years and many pictures.
If you cast the crew well, it makes the picture take care of itself better.
Communication between Eastwood and his veterans is almost instinctive.
Nice job.
Cinematographer Jack Green and his crew often anticipate his needs.
Nice.
Or you can say, I'd like a shot that dramatically gives me this effect.
I want to show this to Clint. Clint?
And then the camera department will go, well, gee, what about this, or what about that? And all of a sudden they're making suggestions that are right in line with what you're thinking about.
The first picture I worked on with Clint was Play Misty for me. 14 pictures as a camera operator and 7 as a director of photography.
I started with El Paso in the late 70s. That was about 15 features ago.
I started with him in '81 with a director of photography named Bruce Surtees on Honky Tonk Man.
When they make Coogan's Bluff, I think that was about 1970, somewhere in there.
Oh, probably about 19 years.
There's one chap here who's worked for 35 years, since Rawhide with him.
I've done about 29, 30 shows with Clint.
It's a platoon and you're just a platoon leader with a backpack on your back, the same as everyone else. And And you get to just point the direction we go, whether it's east or west.
When you head west, you head into horse country. The animals also have to be carefully cast. That's the job of the head wrangler, John Scott.
Clint's horse, we had to find a certain look of the horse, and we kind of wound up sort of a flea-bitten gray type horse. And as I say, going back to the early days, they weren't finely bred, good-headed horses. They sort of were kind of a hammerhead and a long head on them, kind of a bump in their forehead and a sort of a Roman nose. So we had to strive to find a horse that's gentle, got a certain look to him, a bit of a character look, and not a fancy-looking horse.
Okay, Rocket, let's go.
Put all the elements together, treat them hospitably, and the result is...
Happy trails again until we meet again.
Happy trails to you.
My horse, a like kingdom for a horse.
Just sing a song and bring the sunny way.
In this kingdom, the horse must learn to throw the king on cue.
Until we meet again.
When I was a kid, just about everywhere I went, I rode a horse. Of course, I didn't have a horse, but I certainly rode one, you know.
I found us no tonguing. No tonguing.
Riding toward Big Whiskey, a comical confrontation.
All right, how far can you see?
Far enough.
We ain't going to Wyoming to shoot canteens. Damn it, how far? 100 yards?
More.
Can you see that scrub oak yonder? Who's blind, Will?
I ain't blind.
Now, hold on.
Horses won't stand still for dialogue scenes. Movie magic is often rough and homely. Unforgiven is the 36th starring role for Eastwood. It's also his 15th movie as a director. No one has more often done both jobs simultaneously. He's rehearsing Will Money's first brutal confrontation with Sheriff Daggett. The staging, the action, and the emotions are complicated. The company worked most of a week in this cramped, smoky, and claustrophobic set. Eastwood was always looking for ways to lighten the atmosphere, for himself, for everyone.
Pour me one of those, too.
You have to set a tone, and if I'm not in that mood, if I don't set that, then I can't expect anyone else to follow suit.
Doubling as actor and director requires constant shifts in perspective under pressure.
Well, we were going to have, I was going to go with it. We were going to do a side shot from with Saul's boots almost following along, and that view over there, almost his point of view right here.
Unforgiven is a film in which violence erupts suddenly, briefly, and very intensely, but it's never random. It has its own fatal logic.
Let the man out, W.W. Desiring to leave the hospitality of Big Whiskey behind him.
Yeah, I swore I would never be involved in a picture with this much violence in it. But the more I read it, and the more I came to understand the purpose of the film, the more fascinated I became.
No.
Did you get him?
Yeah.
This movie is not casual about violence. It is shown as an awful business.
It don't seem real. I ain't gonna never breathe again, ever. How he's dead.
It's a hell of a thing, killing a man. You take away all he's got, and always ever gonna have.
Yeah.
This is the movie's central point. Murder is always seen as a hugely consequential act.
William Money has many demons to carry about some of the things he's done in the past. These demons that he has to live with are very important because it shows he has a conscience. There's usually not much conscience shown in some westerns. I mean, the hero is usually a fellow who's free of any kind of regrets about his past.
Hurt and hallucinating from the sheriff's beating, Will is assailed and terrified by guilty visions.
I seen the angel of death. I seen the Reverend Dad. He's got snake eyes. Who will? Who's got snake eyes? It's the angel of death. Oh, Dad. Oh, Dad. I'm scared of dying. Easy, partner. Easy. You won't. No, don't tell nobody. Don't tell my kids. None of the things I done. You hear me? All right, Will.
I've always thought of myself as a character actor. I've never thought of myself as a leading man, though I guess at one time I was considered one. I mean, I went through the whole deal of being one of the young guys bopping around town on television series back in the 50s and 60s. But I never considered myself that. I always tried to be a character actor even then.
This Maverick episode dates from 1959. In it, Eastwood tries gamely to put a little spin on a very straight role.
He's the one who's lucky. But your luck won't last. The day that bandage comes off. When's that gonna be, Doc?
Well, it'll take at least a week.
The doc says a week, huh? Well, I'm not a bloodthirsty man, Mr. Maverick. I'll give you till Monday. Your hand better be well by then.
He had to leave Hollywood to find the context and character that would make him a star. That character was a man with no name and very few words. Italian director Sergio Leone reimagined the American West and the Western.
I was working where everything was regimented. You didn't do anything. They still had the old adage where if you had a shot in a Western, you couldn't have the gun and a person tied in together if there was a shot fired. Sergio didn't know anything about that, and so I didn't tell him. I wasn't going to burst the bubble. This was fun because we were breaking all kinds of rules.
These spaghetti westerns were exuberantly free-spirited. Highly stylized and blackly humorous, Leone's movies not only liberated the actor, they influenced the director he already aspired to be. They continue to do so. It was this controversial role as Dirty Harry Callahan that made the star a superstar. It was his fourth film with Don Siegel. Widely regarded as the greatest action director of his time, Siegel is also a continuing influence.
Don was a guy who could get a lot on film with very little in the way of budgets. And by watching him, I tried to grab that. Now, I don't shoot quite as lean as Don, but at the same token, Don was a guy who knew exactly, he had to plan everything, he knew exactly what was going to be shot, and he would do no more.
Eastwood learned more than frugality and efficiency from Siegel. He learned to master the mechanics of complex, high-speed sequences like this one. He also discovered that a high-energy, fast-moving company tends to infuse a film with those qualities.
He likes to shoot fast. I think a lot of that is because he is an action director and most of his pictures are action, and he feels by moving quickly on the set, by moving the setups and not staying 7, 8, 9 takes on the same thing, but breaking the angle, changing a lens, moving the action just a little bit, helps everybody keep moving a little faster, and that again translates onto celluloid.
Yeah.
talk again down, as you're going down the floor, let another one off into the floor. Come on, Mark. Hey, Mark.
A big action piece is composed of 100 small details.
Just gone down there. Get him. Action.
One of those details. Actor Ron White is ready for a shot, and a shot. A squib, a small explosive charge, is placed behind a bag of artificial blood.
It's right here. That's one of them. And the other here is right here.
Taped to his body, it will be fired electronically, as it is in this test.
Just kidding.
The result is highly realistic. Still, things do go wrong. On stage, they're preparing the final confrontation between Daggett's deputies and money. But the blank cartridges fail. It's always rebellious, inanimate objects that put the director in a bad temper. New, stronger loads are tried.
You rolling? Action. Okay.
Amidst carnage, peace is restored.
Take that.
Months later, working with Joel Cox as editor since 1982, Eastwood meticulously orders and shapes Unforgiven's climactic sequence. He says he loves editing more than any other aspect of filmmaking.
I guess the best thing is when you put it all together and it works. At least in your mind, it works. And you go, okay, this is the way I envisioned it, and this is the way it came out.
Well, Woody, you killed 5 men. Single-handed.
I was lucky in the order. But I've always been lucky when it comes to killing folks.
Unforgiven's imagery echoes that of the classic westerns, but the conflicts it explores, and Will Money Lives, resonate to darker, more modern themes.
I'll see you in hell, William Money.